I'm definitely gonna put it on Facebook right now. 'Cause it's a real thing. Hold on, I'm gonna right now. Our greatest our greatest pains come. You know what? I don't even like that. How about closest? COLSEST.
C CO. Don't record that.
Exactly.
CLOSEST.
That's what I put.
Yeah.
Oh, but as a question, do our greatest pains come from our closest relationships?
Well, yeah, I believe that's human nature, and I think that is essentially how the legal field got started.
Wait a
With
minute.
great
Are you
pain
sure?
comes great litigation.
Wait a minute. Whoa. We're gonna change that. So ending 2021 better. How we responding to conflict, to interpersonal conflict better. It's tough, man. It's the season. Um, I mean,
It's the season for
it's
disappointment. It's the season for reflection. It's the season for being grateful.
my God. You know what? That's true. It's a season for reflection. It's that time. Wait, you said season for reflection and the season for what else?
Being grateful in spite of the challenges.
Being grateful despite the challenges. Okay. All right. Good. I mean, I'm gonna change my name on this too. Mm, that's what's going on. That's pretty crazy because it's a problem, man. I mean, there's just so much pain, and real quick, I mean, why am I doing this? I mean, I'm doing this because of a conversation all week. This is only Thursday. All week, I had a chance to. Yeah, I really feel blessed. Really feel blessed to be a mediator, be a family mediator, be a civil circuit county mediator, be a person that people call to consult about how to get through conflict better. We're talking about not just interpersonal conflict, conflict at work, conflict with family, conflict with neighbors, conflict within themselves. It's interesting. So even right now, our greatest pains, do our greatest pains come from those closest to us, our close relationships, and why? And I did a family mediation not so long ago, very very recently, or was assisting or consulting with one, where the mother, after being separated from the dad for 4 years, the last 3 years, let's say he's been paying $1,500 a month in child support, not even filed in court yet. He's been sending her 1,500. They moved to Tampa. After the relationship did not work, she moved back to Broward County, in which he was seeing his kids whenever he can. His type of job, unfortunately, he can't see the kids on a regular schedule like he'd like, so he comes whenever he can with one day's notice. I mean, he sees them at least 2 or 3 times a month. He drives 2.5 hours down, never taking them back up because mom refuses. But now that it's formally filed in court, now that it's formally gonna need to have a parenting plan and stuff like that, he's like, listen, I gotta have something more stable. So do you. You want something more stable. So what can we do to where I can start having my kids up to my new blended family and start having regular time that I'll take care of, but I gotta do it. You know what she told him? You know what she told me? No. If he takes my kids to Tampa with him, he's gonna kill them.
A little hyperbolic, I hope.
No, she really meant it. She said, "You have no idea who this is, and he'll kill my kids just so he doesn't have to pay child support." And he's been voluntarily, not voluntarily, he's been paying without an order or without being put on child support for the last 2 years, $1,500 every month. Although his child support calculations are only $1,000 a month, he pays $1,500 a month. So he's been overpaying for quite some time. Nonetheless, that was her reasoning, and I'll leave it at that. But within that conversation, it was the tone of the greatest, the closest relationship to her end up being the most painful one. And that's the season that we're in right now. That's what
Yes.
we're dealing with right now. That's what people are dealing with when they talk about think about court and mediation and divorces and family and construction, whatever else I may do. But that's what people are doing right now. I mean, I posted something this morning. Got 3 people reaching out to me about the interpersonal pain that they're having with their family, within their marriage, within their relationship, within their children's, their fellow co-parent, within their parents' relationship, the mom, the dad, these adult children who are in their 30s, 40s, for all their life has been treated very, very, very harshly in their opinion. And they're like, why is it the closest relationships are the ones that are the most painful? I mean, so Chris, just talk about what you think about that real quick. What do you think?
Well, I agree. It goes for family, friendships, business associates. If you have a company with someone, it's almost like a family. It can go for an employer-employee relationship. It can go for, especially in the family dynamic where you have placed trust. I think a lot of people have been going through a wide range of emotions, especially in the last 2 years, with a lot of isolation, a lot of time to reflect, a lot of reckoning with decisions, either familial, family related, job related decisions, career aspirations. Um, we're in a very strange time right now. Compound that with the actual time of the year, the end of the year, when people are usually trying to plan and hope for the future. And with the bleak outlook that everyone's had for the last 2 years, combine it with the traditional holiday sadness, depression that goes around, especially in the wintertime. Yeah, I think we have an unusually high propensity today to see people just not being completely happy with those that they've been around. And mind you, people have been around others now, especially in the family situation, more than they have been in the last 2 years. So you either get to see who people really are, or you just realize who people really are, and maybe you can handle it.
Wait. You just said something. If I don't jump on, I'm going to forget. You said people are showing you who they really are. That's crazy. Why do we have to wait till now to learn who people are? That's really painful. And when again, unfortunately, this year alone, I don't know how many, over 100, maybe even 150, 200 cases I dealt with where that was the main issue. It was when the case was filed. It was when he or she walked out. It was when the children were in a situation, or the parents, or it was when mom or dad died and now probate's been opened, that now we're finding out the closest relationships are the most painful relationships.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
In fact, you know what? You said something on some Spider-Man stuff. You said, what was it? The great, the
I said,
greatest.
I believe it was, with great pain comes great litigation.
Yeah, and I don't want to laugh
Or with a
saying that.
lot of pain comes a lot of litigation, something to that.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to laugh saying it's funny because it is sad, but that's what it is. And unless you are a trained negotiator, a trained trial lawyer, um, that's not where you want to be. It's pretty bad. And I'm not going to do this conversation on some doom and gloom. It's not about just addressing or putting out there these pain. I'm trying to figure out how can we make it better? How can we turn this negative 2021? Because it has not been good for me personally. You know, I'm transparent as all that. I'm having a good time. I'm out there doing what I got to do every morning, hype myself up. But hey, I've been through some stuff. We've been through some stuff. People have all been through some stuff. But what are you going to do about that? How can we make it better? How can we make this personal, most painful, the people that are the closest to you and how they can really get at you? How can we use that to be better? How can we do that? Before I give you my thoughts on that, tell me, what do you think? I mean, again, first of all, you are a litigator, you are a trial lawyer, you are a mediator, you've been trained to do a lot of things. You ran companies, you ran offices with a lot of people dealing with interpersonal HR turmoil. So, what is your ideas before I give you mine?
Well, my thoughts on the subject is that there is a there is an important element to human psychology that I think gets ignored, but people don't realize they're ignoring it. Uh, Especially when you're dealing with anything that's even tangentially related to the legal world. And I know this is about something bigger, but to my point, there's no curriculum that teaches people not to walk through the world with blinders on, and there's no training for a lot of business people or you know, if you're a business person, you're an attorney, if you're just a human being or a mediator, training your you're not going to be trained specifically on human nature. This is something that you're going to either know or something you're going to learn on your own and bring to what you do. As far as what I've seen and my understanding of it is that people to a it's a flaw and it's a fault, but it's also something admirable about the human condition. We actually try to look at the bright side of situations or of people. We like giving people the benefit of the doubt, unless you're a complete cynic. But for the most part, when you see these things in business or in our profession, people usually wanted to believe before anything went sideways that either your family, your business partners, your friends, they were trustworthy and that you understood who they were, or you wanted to believe your impression of who you believed either you wanted them to be or who they wanted you to believe they were. But a lot of that fault, I believe, just rests on the person's perspective. I
So hold on,
think,
wait. So are you saying it's my fault that I put my own perspective, my own spin, my own expectations on what that relationship, that person's response is supposed to be? It's my fault?
yes, but I don't mean that so that you can feel guilty about
Oh,
it.
no. Hey, I'm not feeling guilty. I'm feeling accountable. You're right. It is my fault. I did tell myself that person, that ex, that whatever, supposed to have been more kind, supposed to have been more empathetic, supposed to have been more supportive. And when they did not meet that expectation, when they did not respond in the way that my ego, myself needed, I went left, or I went right, or I went up, or as usual, I went down.
Right.
And we now are in a state of depression, maybe self doubt, and that's bad. It's bad because people are watching. It's bad because people are seeing you deal with it. And I'm not talking about professionally, but interpersonal too. So I like what you just said. It's my fault. It's me. It's you. It's the person that is dealing with that emotion, with that relationship, that in their expectations of what the other person is supposed to do, that puts us in this state that now we're in right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you two examples. Uh, And both of them are going to be legally based, one in family and one in business. So there's a euphoria, let's say, in the business world
Oh,
when,
so hold on. I want to hear business, but I want to hear personal too. Because guess
yeah,
what?
I'm going to get to that one.
This morning's problem, I got again 3 calls this morning about people in their relationship. Right now, we're ending 2021, and I already have 3 divorces on deck. I have 2 people fighting to see their kids they haven't seen in 2 years. I got somebody else dealing with very manipulative in-laws taking over the family. So I just want to hear about the business stuff, definitely, but let's also remember interpersonal, because this is, I want to framework it on how the closest relationships cause us the greatest pain, and how can we
Well,
make it better?
it does relate to the family because my example is contracts. There's a euphoria when you enter into a contract with someone that the terms of the contract are going to be met. And that's why you get an outside perspective. And they always advise you because in the business world it is accepted. So you're always advised get an attorney or get someone from the outside to review your contract and make sure that everything's on the up and up. And most people will take that advice and it's more accepted. Some people will say, no, I trust this person. That's very rare. But if you flip it around and put it into the family law context or the family context, and you suggest that something that a family member or close friend is suggesting, well, let's go with a family member, let's go even with a potential spouse. Oh, you should get a prenup.
Prenup or post up.
Well, wait a minute. This isn't a business transaction, is it? Are you suggesting I shouldn't trust another human being with everything I own? Well, yeah, that's what it comes down to. But people don't want to hear that because even though you could be euphoric yet pragmatic when it comes to business, people cannot be euphoric and pragmatic when it comes to relationships.
Well,
Some can.
marriage, I tell people sometimes, marriage is a business. Sorry, it is. Don't, people get confused. Marriage is a business, and divorce is the biggest business.
Yes, yes. Divorce Incorporated, the biggest business. And it's a shame that something that we value in, especially in the Western world, we place a high value in love and romantic relationships. And, you know, for some people, it's more Disneyfied. You know what I mean by that? A lot of Disney movies and their interpretation of love. And then for other people, it's a little bit.
Define love for me.
What was that?
Define love.
Define love?
Yeah, what's
Well,
love?
love is a many magical thing. No, love is love is love is just simply an emotion. And what happens is love is ever evolving. And I don't think people realize that, especially in the beginning stages. So the hurt comes from, well, wait a minute. Why is love evolving now? From what I thought the feeling would always be, that euphoric phase, why does it evolve to something else? And how do I cope with that? Does that mean I made a mistake? Does that mean that I no longer love this person? There's no nuance in it because people have, like I said at the beginning, a perception of that they're imposing on others in their life, expectations that they want met, and then all that has comes to a head in the holiday season when they face, especially now after lockdowns, and they're saying, "Well, wait a minute, um, I didn't know this person was such a pain on a 24-hour basis. I only had to deal with them."
I just got married and all the cuteness is going on, but now you have to do life with that person every day. You have to wake up next to them every day, and you didn't know that day 35 would be like that.
Right?
Listen, who loves greater, men or women?
Love's
Who,
greater.
yeah, who think loves greater?
I think they love different.
So there's not a bit. So you don't think a man can love a woman more, or a woman can love a man more? Just in generality texts or context of it. I want to play with that for a little bit.
I don't
Who
think.
who loves greater? Who loves deeper? Who loves more? A man to a woman, or a woman to a man?
I I don't think there's an answer to that. I think every relationship is different. I think you can find many relationships where the man, again, it's about fulfilling whatever it is you need to fulfill, either from your understanding of what a relationship needs and with the other person's
Well,
understanding.
here's why I want to push back on that. Because although you and I know, because of our professional, what we do for a profession, we know we really can't answer that question. But people answer that question every day.
Oh,
I
you're
am
right.
doing a divorce.
Yes, you are doing it.
I'm hearing people say, here's what I did for 15 years. She did not know that I'm working 100 hours. I'm not seeing my kids. I'm not seeing my wife. I'm not enjoying the comfort of that home that I have paid for, that she created, that they created, but as a father, as a man, I cannot enjoy. But now that I'm being served divorce papers or separation, or now can't see my kids, I'm being told I was never there. I'm being told I don't love. I'm being told I did not profess. I did not provide. I did not protect. Are you kidding me? Of course I love these kids as deep as you. But then on the turn on that, on the female side, oh, wait. I gave up my career or took less than so I can have these kids, so I can create this home. I pushed these kids out for 8 hours. I held them in gestation for 9 months. I created something so you could come home and be relaxed. I was faithful, and you went out with your boys and had cigars and chilled out while I was making sure you came home to somewhere. And now that you're leaving me, or I told you I can't take that neglect anymore, I'm moving on. You're telling me you deserve?
There is no deserve. And the funny thing is, the scenario and circumstances that you described are tolerable to some and not to others. So, what you gave into the relationship, again, is perspective. And everyone creates the movie in their head where they potentially it can be a victim. Let's be honest. It's very easy to be the victim in a scenario where you are hurt. And that goes for any type of relationship where you have felt pain, where you feel pain, you're going to write your own story, and your story is going to be that you were the one that was wronged, or you were the one that was more hurt, or as you just stated, you were the one who loved the other person more than they loved you, and they took you for a ride and took advantage of the entire situation. No, you don't know that. You don't know the hurt of the other person. You don't know if they hurt 3 months before you started hurting. You don't know if they were hurting a year before you started hurting. There's a lot going on. Human beings are complex, and the way we deal with it, unfortunately, and which is why therapists exist, and there's nothing wrong with it, and why lawyers exist, which, you know, unfortunately are required in order to help essentially buffer and go through a legal system that isn't built for dealing with complex emotions. It's simply just about the bottom line. So you get people in a room talking about how much they were hurt as if it has some sort of monetary value. And we boil it down to, well, I gave up 10 years of my life. I did XYZ and they contributed nothing. Well, anyone would look at that and say, well, that looks like a horrible business deal. If it was such a horrible business deal, why didn't you do something sooner? And that's from a third party perspective. From the person's perspective, it's like, you don't understand, you weren't there. And it's true, we weren't. What happens is we try to be there, we try to understand it, but the best people to have that introspection and try to put themselves in the shoes of the other person in the relationship is actually the other person in the relationship, because no one knows what happened in that relationship more than the two that are going through the pain of whatever it is. If it's a divorce, if it's a separation, if it's fighting over child support payments or visitation rights. I mean, the only two people that really know the truth are them, and the pain that they're going through is most real for them, and they need to understand that those on the on the outside are not going to be able to help
You know,
other than magnify it.
so let's switch the relationship now. Another close relationship that I've heard, I've dealt with that just cuts you down the middle and splits you in half is again one of the conversations I had, and this is all within the last hour and a half, by the way. And it was a really quick text back and forth where someone said their biggest supporter, the person that's supposed to be there for them thick and thin through everything, who taught them how to love, who taught them how to respond to life's challenges, was their mother. And their mother happens to be their greatest challenge. Their mother happens to be their greatest pain. Now what? This now that you're in your mid 30s in this scenario or in this actual real life situation, you're in your mid 30s to late 30s. Your third major real long relationships. You're in 3 kids deep. Your career path is still not solidified and certain, but definitely not what your parents wanted, and definitely went against the grain that your mother thought she created from you, and absolutely does not support you. Absolutely, out of respect and out of the conditional, habitual life usual modalities of operation, you're there every week checking up on her and being there for her. But when you reach out for her to be there for you, no nada, no mas, nothing there. How do you deal with that close relationship of a parent's love that you feel is no longer there? Now what?
Well, I think that's I think Freud would love this question because it hits right to the whole the issue of parents and their role in kids' lives and how they have the potential and probably the most influence on any confusion regarding this issue and any long lasting scars. How do you handle that? Well, I think the earlier you realize that parents are human beings and they may or may not be good, uh, I guess, influences in your life. As crazy of a thought as that is for a lot of people to even consider, I think we all know someone in our lives who could have used that advice earlier on because we see it from the outside. It's like your parent, whether it's the mother or it's the father or both, is having more of a negative impact on your ability to live a normal, successful life or a happy life than they are helping you in those endeavors. So, in the situation that you're describing, it seems as if you're not getting a lot of support from the parent and yet feel some sort of obligation or responsibility to reciprocate something that was never provided to you in the first place. If you're a disappointment and you are not approved of and you're not welcome from most respects other than what providing financial support, then you need to evaluate the situation and see if this is something that's good for you or if you'd be better off without it in your life. I don't think a lot of people are ready to have that conversation, even when they're older. I think this is something that therapists have been struggling with for centuries. So I don't think I'm going to be the one to crack the Da Vinci's code here, but I think there is a
You know
reality.
what? You did say something. You said I created again this real life scenario, real life conversation, a real life back and forth. But you said how kids and their parents, and you referred to them as kids. I told you this is an adult. She's in her, or I don't say her, she or he, but they are in their late 30s. Okay,
Oh,
but yet we respond to them as being children. It's a grown adult. Okay, it's an adult, but in the relationship, regardless of our age, our parents will treat us as such. Our parents will treat us as a young person who doesn't know anything. Our
right.
parents will treat us like, what are you, even if you've been through some hard experiences, your parent doesn't know everything. They don't know all those times you snuck out the house, all that time you may have tried something you shouldn't have tried. You know they don't know everything. They don't know where all the stuff is buried, but they know enough to know your personality. And why I'm presenting or even discussing that close relationship that's painful is because, as you said, how do you make 2021 better after going through the last 2 years of hurt? How do you make, because that's the one thing I'm appreciative of. This pandemic, to me, I'm a realist. I'm a New York style, in your face type of person. Give it to me raw. Don't give it to me pretty. Give it to me real. I will deal better with realness than the fakeness. I love that. And I think the pandemic put that in our face. It put your relationships in your face. It put there, you now know who's there for you. You know better who's not. You know better when you're ill, your kids are ill, your spouse is ill, who's going to really be there to support you. I like being faced with that personally because it allows me to now move more honestly, transparently to who I am. So, in response to this conversation of this closest relationships being the most painful relationships, and the parent adult child and parent relationship is what you said. The disapproval, the path you may have taken, which may not be what they want for you, but it's about you and what your expectations are. Your parents can only do what they were taught.
Yes.
The parents can only give what they have. They can't give you what they don't have. So you have to, as I told somebody, look yourself in the mirror, say, here's what I know, here's what I want, here's what I know or how to get it, if you know how to get it. Seek that, not approval from them, but seek forgiveness from yourself. You have to go through the challenges. You have to go through your mountains. You have to go through your barricades. You have to grow, but you have to allow yourself that growth opportunity. You have to allow yourself to fumble. You have to
Yeah, you have
allow
to allow
yourself.
yourself the pain, right?
You have to
Sure.
allow yourself that pain. Why do we run from it? I have an older daughter. Daddy, I want it easy. Daddy, what's the fastest way? I'm like, why would you want the fastest way? Because it's never going to be as good. It's never going to taste as right. Take your time.
But you know the
Take
song
it.
from Billy Joel, right?
What?
You know the song that Billy Joel wrote for his daughter, right? Vienna.
No. What song was that?
Vienna waits for you. You're such in a rush to get where
Oh,
you're going.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, 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 yes. I
Vienna
haven't paid
waits for
attention. That
you.
is something on it. Yes. Um, but that to me is how we can end this year better. How we can respond to these close relationships that create the greatest of pains is if we take this last 2 days of the year and allow ourselves to receive that pain and don't run away from it. Yo, I'm telling you, I'm dealing with some stuff, man. You have no idea. But I'm not gonna cry this morning. I'm not gonna do that. But I'm gonna grow from it. I'm not gonna let it stop me for who I am. I have to go through some things. And what I told two of those three people this morning is don't shy away from it. Write down what you learned. You know what? People don't realize I got pens and papers all over my house. I sometimes write some things as they happen, or even on my cell phone. I have something called an app called Evernote. I'll write that pain. I'll write that thing I'm dealing with at that time. And sometimes I come back a week later. I'm like, who's this? What was I dealing with that day, that hour?
That's actually great advice, though. Writing down how you're feeling on a daily basis, or if you just have a moment every couple of days, or at least once a week, you can go back to it and you can see where you were. You can actually track your growth. I think you're absolutely correct.
It's the problem, not the problem, the challenge with that. And I try to use my words carefully. The challenge with what I just said, what I do, is because I gotta put myself out there now. I gotta put it. I gotta write it down. That's hard. I don't want to reflect on that sometimes. I want to hide that pain sometimes. I want to hide the disappointment. I want to ignore it. Let's pretend it's not even there. Let's just pray. I pray every day, 3 times a day at least. I just want to pray about it and keep it moving. But not only is that important to do, however, if you are spiritual or religious, whatever you do, that's great for you. We all have our own maybe different ways on how we do it. But I'm saying writing it down, like I said, I do, which I do. I actually do. I had to allow myself that growth. I had to say it was okay to do that because again, I got younger brothers and sisters, and they used to always go through my stuff. I'm a grown man now, of course, but I'm saying I still have that apprehension, that fear. Who's gonna look at it? Am I ready to put myself down on paper? Am I ready to be honest with myself? And that's part of playing out this whole conversation. That's part of playing out how we deal. That sucks,
Yeah.
but it's what we have to do. And I've dealt with some bullying situations, not bullying young children, bullying adults, getting bullied at work, believe it or not, workplace violence things. Right? Remember that dolphin player? I'm not gonna say the name, but years ago, like 10 or 12 years ago, we had a dolphin player that came into the locker room and went bananas, ballistics, saying he was being bullied and being, it was beyond the usual hazing, beyond the
Right.
usual rookie stuff. It was some really bad situations there, right? So that opened up. Remember that has died down, but that opened up a whole a whole conversation for that year anyway on how the 300 plus pound man full of the same emotion that a middle schooler is filled with when they walk through those doors every day.
Well, that nerve never healed. People are complex, and we bring into relationships and we bring into every new year the things that we don't heal from the year prior, from the relationships that we haven't learned from relationships past. We carry it forward. That's why I think one of the worst things regarding the lockdowns is that a lot of people that needed help or needed guidance didn't have the ability to get out as much, to be around those that could provide support, or I think it's just been a little bit crazy, especially for those that need additional help. So what do I look forward to in 2022 as far as people healing? I think people just being around others and getting support from their inner circle or even their outer circle, getting support, being out there, actually having dinner with a friend, feeling comfortable going out to lunch with others, so that we can get to some semblance of normalcy as far as the process of healing. Because just because everything has happened, it doesn't mean that the normal human turmoil and issues and problems went away. No, okay, this is an external thing happening, but the usual problems are still there. We still need people to help support us. It
Oh, I
just
like
wasn't
that right
available.
there. So looking towards, so now a few minutes already, or over a half hour on all this. I don't think it's doom and gloom. I don't think it's depressing, although some may perceive it as such. I think it's an opportunity of recognition, of accountability, of transparency, being honest, pointing it out, looking at yourself in the mirror, saying you're the problem. By the way, a little hint: if you ever see any of my crazy morning videos, that's for me. I don't care about likes. That's for me being accountable to who I am. And that bad guys are layered. Those aren't those people out there. Bad guys is me. It's my inner voice, my insecurities, those self-doubting words that I still hear from the third grade, 8 years old. You're a stutterer. You're gonna be nothing in your life. You're too black. You're too short. You're too fat. You're too this. You're too that. Those are the bad guys, by the way. FYI. But I fight those every day. And if you pretend that you don't do that to yourself, that's a lie. We all have some level of something. Are we there? Am I making the right career choice? Is my family right? Am I leaving enough assets for them and a legacy that they can grow from? That's what we have to be able to recognize. So yes, our greatest pain comes from those closest relationships because we've exposed ourselves to them. They have access to things that others don't. That's what makes it so great. That's what makes it so painful. But now for 2022, what you gonna do about it? How you gonna approach it? And like we just said, getting support outside safely, of course. We in a pandemic still, right? In the pandemic, so getting support, maybe not in the circles that you're usually around. Getting support from things not your usual. Stepping out that comfort zone. Putting yourself out there. Again, writing things down. I say write it down. Here's what I did in 2020. Here's what I did in 21. Here's what I'm not going to do no more. X, 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 cross, cross, cross. Cross out all that nonsense. Now, if it's crying, if it's, you know what? You know something interesting?
What?
You know, remember, I may have said this in all the trainings that I do. I know you participated in a lot of them. I always make reference when it comes to mediation, negotiating, regardless of the type of case it is in law, mediation, arbitration. Remember, I sometimes ask or make note of, as humans, there's been all these studies. We have between whatever report you might believe in or subscribe to, 16,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. The average human, the three research studies that I looked at were in America though, 16,000 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Of the 16,000 or 60, whatever you want to believe in, right? Here's the interesting part. I'll say it again. 80% of those thousands and thousands of thoughts, 80% are negative. Of those 80% of those tens of thousands of thoughts that are negative, 90% of the 80% are repetitive. So we're walking around, and it's through anthropology and how we survived as a species. You know, you need to have that skepticism. The skepticism kept us safe, right? So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying let's recognize it. So as you are walking through this life right now, as you are preparing to close out 2021 and welcome 2022, and look for that shift, look for that change, look for how you address those close relationships and the pain you have through them. What are you going to do different? What negative, repetitive thoughts are you going to acknowledge, address, and try to change? What? What do you think?
I mean, I think that's a great question for self-reflection. I think everyone has to be honest with themselves. And if you're isolating yourself from those that care about you or those that can provide you support, you might need to stop doing that heading into 2022. That'd be a good New Year's resolution. Try to find a way to reconnect with those that aren't bringing you pain or those that can help you understand your pain. Because I think the worst thing that's happening right now is just a severe isolation.
You know
Nothing
what?
worse than being alone with your pain.
Funny. I said something a while ago. In the I woke up with sinuses and allergies. It wasn't COVID, but I woke up and I didn't feel like getting up. Chris, I was like, oh, man, do I want to be the hype Stanley today? Do I want to be the hype man? I'm never the hype man, by the way. It's just I realized something. I'm not going to lay down. And not only that, but I'm gonna share my pain. I got no problem. I'm a private individual, of course. Not everyone knows everything that's going on with me. But guess what's not gonna happen? I'm not gonna use that as my crutch, not to be great, not to at least make that attempt. I got things to do. Not only am I watching myself because I'm very self-reflective, I got babies watching me. I got colleagues and friends that need me, or even if they don't need me, I know I gotta be there for something, for someone, and serve. I have to serve. So those people that are sitting there curled up in a ball every morning, dealing with the pain, not having the kids, not having a successful relationship, having parents that don't love you, support you, having siblings that crap on you. Because guess what? We all know it is those siblings, it is those people, it is that family that we're supposed to have by blood that can get us the deepest, hurt us the closest, right? You gotta love them anyway. Forgive them for what they are. Recognize it, know it, and open yourself up for something better and new. And know that you deserve it. Know that you can be better. I'm not gonna be my temporary circumstances. Heck no, I'm not gonna do that to myself, and I'm not gonna let that happen to you either. So, like you said, opening up yourself, creating new circles, find a way to reconnect or connect with those things that are good for you. And I think a good way to do that is to write that down. Write down those things. Write down what you have to do. Write down how you get to it. Forgive yourself. You know what? It's not even forgive yourself, it's allow yourself. Allow yourself to go through that thing. Allow yourself the opportunity to heal. Allow yourself to realize, listen, the greater pain that I'm feeling right now means I'm going to have the greater success. I'm dealing with it. I'm owning it. Now what? Watch me.
Well said.
That's crazy, but it's hard. It's so funny. This morning I went to Vista View in Weston. They have that deep incline, and I'm running up and down. I'm an old guy. I'm an old dude. And as soon as I got there, this young guy, ripped up, abs, all sexy and crap, looks at me. Come on, old head. What you have for me? I said, you can do it by yourself. But I'm gonna show you something though. And then my cousins came, my young cousins, middle schoolers, high schoolers, and we got it in. And it's so funny. Their desire to go up and down was reached pretty quickly. They were finished faster than it should have been, in my opinion. But they pushed. And at that point in time, when I was done, when my legs were hurting, I'm like, you know what? I'm in physical pain. I actually started getting emotional because I was like, you know what? I have this mountain, but I miss my daughter. I have this mountain, and I need to have a better relationship. I miss my daughter, and I miss my sisters who aren't around me. I miss my dad who passed away. I miss my brother who passed away. I miss my cousins who passed away. I lost over 10 people due to COVID. I lost a lot of other people due to other nonsense. There are people I know that died on motorcycles. There are people I know dealing with divorces and family and losing their house and homelessness. There's a lot of pain that people are dealing with, and I'm going to complain about a mountain? A little, not even a mountain, a hill? Not, respect, not a mountain. A little hill? Man, get yourself up that. Let's go. And I told all my little cousins, we're going to run up this mountain or this hill. Then we're going to do 50 jump squats. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, we're going to do that. But I'm tired. No, you're not. You want to do it? You want to grow? You want to condition yourself to be better? It starts with you, which is why I think the answer. I think let's wrap this all up. You know the answer to this pain, this question, why do the closest people to us cause us the deepest pain? Hell yeah, they do. And you know how you deal with that? By owning it, responding to it, and not giving it back, but giving more. How about that for craziness?
I like that.
Giving more. Yeah, I can be petty. Yeah, I can be vindictive, but I'm going to fight that. I know that I'm better than that. So I'm not going to respond to their evilness. I'm not going to respond to their drama. I could. But I'm going to respond when I want to. Because if I do it when they dictate, now I'm giving them my power. I'm giving them my everything. I'm going to let you have this pain. Trust that. But when I am ready, writing it down, being accountable, sharing it, not being afraid to share it, being transparent, seeking others, creating a greater support system, going outside the comfort zone. That's how we gotta go.
Agreed.
I don't know. So what's gonna make you happy and not make you happy? What are you looking forward to in 2022 in less than 2 days?
I'm looking forward to. I'm optimistic that 2022 is not going to look the same as 2020 and 2021. So I'm looking forward to a return to normal.
You're not even me on a different topic. What the hell is normal? What's normal?
Just being able to enjoy traveling again, being able to enjoy meeting up with friends
More freely.
more freely, being around those I care about, with you know, less need for concern. I'm hoping that 2022 is going to open up the world, maybe not quickly, but throughout the course of the year, back to where we were or close to it.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. You're way more optimistic than I am. My hopes for 2022 is that I am able to remain healthy. I'm able to share more with people, give them more of who I am, give them more of what I have. Um, Keeping some for myself if I can, but not really. And hoping everyone does the same. You know, if we all gave, and that's it, literally give like money or time if you don't have it, because you can't give what you don't have, right? But if we just have that process, things will be different. I mean, as a mediator, as you know, every day, either if I'm not mediating or if I'm not preparing for a mediation and arbitration or training that I'm going to be doing, that's something that I hope to impart upon people. Is we're here to give, so give to the process, give to what you're doing, and I hope we become more givers in 2022. I would love to see more people give and be honest with yourself and be honest with those around you. You know, I think that's what I would hope. That's my main hope because I think things can be better if we give, and that might mean give respect for things we don't agree with. I'm talking about that. I'm not about this be happy the way I see the world. Look, be happy, not only be happy, but give to what's necessary for the conditions that we're in. Give instead of hoarding, instead of being under the covers and hiding, instead of just looking at yourself and saying what I don't have and being miserable at what you don't have, but what you do have. And we're in a pretty, I mean, I know we're not all in the best circumstances. We're not all in the greatest of circles. We're not all in the best of anything. We're just not, we're just not. But we can still give. And I'm being genuine with that. I mean, again, I don't post all this Facebook fakeness. Forget all that fakeness. I'm talking about really, really being inspired to do more for those around you and mean it. That sucks. That's hard. It's draining. But if everyone can do that, if we all can find a way to do that, I think we're going to have a great 2022.
I think everyone would feel a lot better if that was the case.
Do you think about volunteering the same way too? Because I'm not, because volunteering. Okay, so 'cause again, part of this giving I'm talking about is putting yourself out there. Okay, part of dealing with this close relationship, it is. Let me ask you something. What do you think about therapy? Because I know in part of this dealing with the closest relationships, creating the greatest of pain, I've advocated for people to seek therapy, and there's a refusal to it. Why do you think today people are not considering therapy more or mental health as something so important?
Well, I don't know. There's always been some stigma with mental health, getting mental health, whether if it's therapy or whatever else is required. Aside from the stigma, I think nationally, maybe there has to be a change as far as what we consider to be essentially like how we consider PCPs and those visits to be part of our routines. Some way to make mental health either therapy or providing the opportunity, getting a yearly checkup, doing something. I don't know. Maybe that would help open up people to the understanding that it's nothing to look at as if a scarlet letter if they find out you've gone to a therapist. But I think that stigma still exists. I don't think the insurance industry helps, considering it's not even covered in most circumstances. My understanding. I could be wrong, but I don't believe a lot of it is covered. So if every indication is that it's not even a covered field and there's a stigma already attached to it, and it's something you shouldn't have to be sharing it with anyone regarding your personal medical information anyway. But the fact that people wouldn't want it to get out, I think there's also a fear in this world that anything and everything that we do is being watched or someone's going to find out about it.
Yeah, I think that's part of this whole dealing with the greatest of pain is to realize. I realized something a long time ago, that we all are in pain. We all are suffering something. We all are fighting something. But the one thing I know we are all fighting is ourselves. That man in the mirror, that person in the mirror. We're all fighting that exactly. And what are you going to do now that you have that exactly? And that's how I was able to go over this one hump I had. I've got a lot of insecurities, believe it or not, a lot. And in dealing with what I was told all my life I could not be, or the things that I never would be, the things that I was told I could not have, I realized those limitations weren't what they were trying to put on me. That's because they have them themselves. That's their limitations. That was they were trying to put on me their pain or their insecurities as well. And I realized something. We all have that. We all aren't this and that. We all aren't the cutest at the table. We all don't walk the most elegant. We all don't dance the best. Although I'm pretty good. I got a two step. You know. We all have something we have to allow to address. And even at the mediation table, when I have husband and wife or subcontractor, contractor, inside adjuster, public adjuster, homeowner, whatever it may be, I'm looking. I don't look for it, but it comes out. All these things that they think they deserve, or they think that they're not, and I help manage that throughout the negotiations. Yes, you have your advocates, you have your lawyers, you have your people that are going to talk on your behalf, but even they have their levels of insecurity, right? Isn't that true? Even don't they have a what am I expected to get out of this process of negotiations? What is the expectations my client has of me in these negotiations? What am I going to come back to the office and tell partner XYZ happened? What's the best result that the firm wants? What's the best result the client wants? There's all these expectations that people have. And once I realized everyone has the same negotiation issues, everyone has the same level, maybe different levels and degrees, but the same insecurities or something, I realized, man, I'm in a good place. Stanley is in a great place. You know why? Because I'm like everybody else, and everyone else is like me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, one of the greatest fears for people is public speaking, right? And there's a few old techniques, and one of the oldest techniques is imagine everyone in the crowd is naked. Everyone is naked, down to their birthday suits. What does that mean? That means everyone comes into this world blank. Everyone comes into this world with nothing. And things, people, communities, parents, grandparents build and create them.
Yeah.
And if we are built and created by those around us, they're regular. We're regular. So I guess in closing, I'm the one doing all the talking right now. I want to know. I know what you say you want for 2022. Right? How are you going to help me spread this message? How are you going to help me, Chris? I need you, Chris.
Well, the message is for me pretty simple to start spreading because I've already been attempting to do this with my own clients, with my own friends, with my own family. This is, spreading the word about let's do something to not focus on what we know to be true, which is the misery of, events that we can't control. Let's get out of our own heads. Let's break out of it and let's focus on the positive. I mean, it sounds cliche, it is, but it's what we all need to be doing. And if we all have the same desire, which I believe we do, then I think that's what helps. And that's what I plan on doing in 2022. I was limited in my, I guess, attempts to do so, but I know I'm going to be trying a lot harder in 2022 to break out of that. And
No, hey, wait, whoa, stop. I ain't like that. You just said something that you should know better than that. There's no try. There's try. There's do or do not.
then we're doing it in 2022.
There it is. All right. We don't try. I said Yoda. There is no try. There's do or do not. Period. So you know
That's
what I
true.
tell people to do? I'm gonna wrap this all up. You know what I want everybody to do? I want you, me, set a physical goal for yourself. I'm gonna do 100 push-ups a day. I'm gonna do, I'm gonna practice my piano 45 minutes every day. I'm gonna write down my thoughts of the day and my plans for tomorrow. Um, I'm gonna write down my desires for me for the next, for the next week. Here's what I want to accomplish. I do it every day. I got paper. I keep a composition. I got a composition book. I got all this stuff around me. I actually keep these journals, and again, I have this thing called Evernote. It's an app. I actually do this stuff. I keep ideas flowing as to what I need, what I want. I should say what I want, but what I want to work towards. And guess what's funny? I set a time frame for that. And if it doesn't happen, guess what? I adjust it. But I don't bullshit myself. Excuse my language. I don't BS myself. Okay. That's the one thing. But again, there's no such even lies. I'm dealing with the biggest liar in my life right now. Incredible what I have to deal with, but it's okay. It's okay. And I told that person, you're not lying to me until the truth comes out. Because I'm gonna believe whatever you tell me. You just gotta show me, right? So if the worst lie you can ever tell is the ones to yourself. The worst lie you can ever tell is the ones to yourself. And this person been lying to me for years, and I took it as whatever it was because I got no time to do certain things. But once it was revealed, it was eye opening, and we moved from there and we dealt with it. But that's the problem people have. That's why some people don't want to write it down on paper. Again, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. I don't believe in all that. I believe in lifestyle adjustments. I believe in lifestyle addressing. I believe in goals that you want to reach, things like that. But to frame it as New Year's resolutions, those fail within 6 weeks usually. I want a lifestyle change. I want a lifestyle adjustment. Let's get it. Let's put it down. And you know what the word? You know what I also want to hear? Share that with me. Let me know. Let somebody know. And don't be afraid if they put it in your face. One of the best people I have in my life is a guy named Russell Mosley, Jose Perez, who owns a gym, Flacco's Community Gym, FCG. These people put me on my back every day. Every day. What are you doing today, Stanley? What did you do, Mr. Big Mouth? How are you accomplishing your goals, Stanley? I don't believe all this hype, Miss Stanley. I'm like, oh, snap. I love it. I like that because you know what? I put myself out there. I got to do it.
Right.
You gotta do that. You have to allow yourself to do the same thing. Don't be afraid of the loss, because you are not losing, you're learning. Don't be afraid of not reaching that goal. You did not reach that goal. You learn ways that does not work. So make the adjustment. It's a mind shift, right? All right. All right. Well, Chris, you know how much I love you, man. I respect you. I want to say thank you for this
Likewise.
time. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to just say, you know what, there's a way that we can address. And the answer to that question is yes, we are hurt by the closest relationships to us. They are the deepest pains because we are the most vulnerable to them. And we have to allow that to happen. And if it happens, it happens. We cannot shield ourselves and hide. We can't just shield ourselves and be put in a box. We can't allow ourselves to be put in a hole. You gotta open yourself up and experience what you have to experience. Emerge in it, so you can submerge greater. That's a flower. That's a flower. That's my idea of a flower.
Sometimes when you hit rock bottom, it's a chance to build a new foundation.
Yes. So that's why I tell you, let yourself get deep in the emotions. Hopefully, you can address them in a safe manner, so you don't harm yourself or others. But now that you're there, let's talk about it. Now that you're there, let's get you out of it. Let's grow. Let's grow past it, which can happen. All right. All right. All right. I'm out of here. All right. We got the rest of the day to make things happen. Yo, have a great rest of your Thursday, Chris. Call me whenever. You have my information. Everyone else does too. And thank you for sharing some time with me this afternoon, this morning. All right.
Thanks for having me as usual. It's great seeing you, Stan.
Always. Let's go.